we're just going to recap what happened last week. So Bhai Manpreet Singh went to the fourth Bodhi, and in that Bodhi, Guru Nanak Dev Ji was talking about who the true king was. So they started the Bodhi with Sacha Sahib, Sach Nai, Pakhya Pao Apar. So they're saying that Vaheguru Ji is the true king. And the reason why they're the true king is because they are the king of this world and the next world. And they say Sach Nai, that their name is true as well, because their name is going to be the support of ourselves in the next world. And Manpreet Singh used the example that in this world, when we're in trouble or we need help, we may use someone's name. We may say, oh, do you know who my brother is? Or do you know who my father is? Or that we know so-and-so. But in the next world, that name is not going to be of any help to us. And then they say, Pakhya Pao Apar, that the language of Vaheguru Ji is of love. That when we have love for Vaheguru Ji, that is a language they understand. Even if sometimes people worry that, oh, I can't speak Punjabi or I don't understand Gurmukhi, those are 100% good things to do. But when we have that love inside, that Vaheguru Ji understands that. And then we also heard that Vaheguru Ji is the giver. That the Sikhs say, Aakhe hai, mange hai, dehe dehe, daat kare daatar. That everybody is Aakhe hai, mange hai, they're speaking, they're begging for things. And that daatar, that the giver, keeps on giving the gifts. And then the Siddhs asked two questions. They said that Pher ke agge rakhiye, jit de se darbar, mohau ke bolan boliye, jit sona tare pyar. So they say that what can we put in front of you, Vaheguru Ji, that we can then see you, we can have your vision, that we can see your court. And they say, mohot ke bolan boliye, jit sona tare pyar. That what can we say with our mouths, what can we speak, that when you listen to it, then we can experience your love. And the answer was Amrit Vela Sajnao Vadiyai Vichar. That in the Amrit Vela, very simply, the time is between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning, that we meditate on that name of Vaheguru Ji. And that we do Vichar, we contemplate on their greatness, on their Vadiyai. And they say, Karmi Ave Kapada Nadari Mokh Dwar. That they say that we have been given this kapada, this clothes of this human body because of our karma, because of our previous actions. And that through the nadari, through grace, then mokh dwar, we can actually reach that door of liberation. And they finish with Nanak eve janiye sab ape satyar. That Guru Nanak Dev Ji says in this way that we can understand that sab ape satyar, that basically everything is actually that form of Vaheguru Ji. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji continues their conversation with the Siddhs. Next slide, please. So the Siddhs asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji 6 questions. They asked him 6 questions. They say that who gave Vaheguru Ji this power over the universe? Who gave them this rule that they are ruling over the whole world? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji answers, Tapya na jai. So tapya meaning to establish, to install someone on a throne. Na meaning not, jai meaning can. So saying that nobody can establish Vaheguru Ji as the ruler of this world. Nobody can establish Vaheguru Ji because they established themselves. And if we look at this world, that for example, King Charles, that he had to be coronated. He had to be established, installed as the king. And even with our Guru Sahiban, that the Gurus were given the Guruship from their previous Guru. That if we look at Bhai Gurdas Ji's Bani, they use the same word tapya. They say tapya lehna jivade, Guru Ai sir chatur phiraya. They say that tapya lehna jivade. Jivade, that while Guru Nanak Dev Ji was living, tapya lehna, they installed, they established Bhai Lehna as the Guru. So Bhai Lehna was the name of Guru Angad Dev Ji before they became the Guru. And then the Siddhs ask, they say that is Vaheguru Ji a child? Have they got parents? Were they born out of the coming together of male and female? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Kita na hoye. So Kita means created or produced. Na meaning not. Hoye meaning happen. So they're saying that they can't be created. They can't be produced. Because if they did have parents, then that father or mother would have a father or mother. And they then again would have a mother and father. And it would keep going back. But Vaheguru Ji can't be produced. And then they ask 2 questions. They say that is Vaheguru Ji independent? Is Vaheguru Ji, are they controlled by someone? And the answer was Ape Aap. So Ape meaning they, Aap meaning themselves. So they are themselves, they are their own form. Like for many of us who have jobs, that we have a boss, so they tell us what to do. We're not really independent. Or we may be under the control of our desires, under the control of our hunger. But they say that Vaheguru Ji, Ape Aap, they are their own form. That as we heard in Mool Mantar, we heard Sepang, that they are self-existent, that they don't need fuel like cars do, they don't need food like we do, they don't need electricity that light bulbs do. And then they had two more questions. They said that, is Vaheguru Ji part of this Maya? Maya meaning this illusion. Illusion because an illusion is something that's there 1 second and it's not there the next second. That is only temporary. And they say, are they pure? And the answer was Niranjan Soe. So Niranjan means beyond Maya. And it's actually made up of two words. So Nir and Anjan. So Anjan means Maya, and Nir is used in Gurbani to make a word have the opposite meaning. So like in the Mool Mantar, we heard Nirbhau and Nirvair. So Bhau by itself means fear, and Vair means enmity, having negativity towards somebody. So if we put a Nir in front of it, Nirbhau means without fear. Nirvair means without enmity. And then say Soe, which means they. So they are beyond Maya. And just to explore this concept of an illusion, if we go to the next slide, that this is an illusion where it's essentially a white background and it's just got black boxes. And can anybody see like some circles that are coming in between the boxes? That 1 minute they're there, next minute they're not there, right? And this is like the Maya, that 1 second is there and next minute is not. 1 second we have our possessions, we have our relationships, or we have this body, but the next minute it's not there. But Vaheguru Ji, they are beyond this Maya because they are Aad Sach, Jug Aad Sach, Hai Pi Sach, Nanak Hosi Pi Sach. They were true in the very beginning, they are true in the beginning of the 4 ages, they are true now, and they will always be true. Go on to the next slide, please. Then Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Jin Sevya Tin Paya Man, Nanak Gavya Guni Nidan. So they say Jin, meaning whoever. Sevya, serves. So whoever serves, Tin Paya Man. Tin, meaning they, Paya, attain, Man, honor. So whoever serves that one, they attain honor. And this is the first time in Japji Sahib and in Guru Granth Sahib Ji where this concept of serving comes up, of seva. So what does seva actually mean? Anybody help? What does seva mean? Hanji. Hanji, nearly. Anybody else got? Hanji. Selfless service. Thank you very much. What do you mean by selfless? What does selfless mean? Hanji, thank you. Perfect. So, selfless service, you're not expecting anything in return. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, they say, Seva karat hoye nehkami, disko hot prapat swami. They say, when you do seva, nehkami. So, kam meaning desire, nehkami means without desire. So, when we're doing something without desire, that is true seva. And when we think of seva, some of us may think of Guru Amar Das Ji. And if we just go to the next slide, please. So Guru Amar Das Ji came to Guru Angad Dev Ji in Khadur Sahib when they were 72 years old. And when they went to see Guru Angad Dev Ji, they looked around and they saw that people were doing all these different types of work. Some people were in the kitchen making the food, some people were cleaning up the dishes, some people were getting materials for the langar. And he thought that the tapasya, the hard work, the penance, that work that makes Guruji happy here is seva. So he thought that why don't I get involved? That why don't I get fresh water every single morning for Guru Angad Dev Ji, for their bath in the morning, for when they bathe. And so what they did is they would go to the river Beas. And if we just go on to the next slide, please. So they would travel to the river Beas and they would wake up at 2 a.m. every morning with a pitcher to put the water in, and they would travel. And this is just a very rough terms of estimate of how far it would be for them to walk, just because the road's different now. But roughly speaking, it would be over 2 hours, over 10 kilometers it would take for them to get to the river Beas. And on the way there, they would actually walk backwards. Does anybody know why would Guru Amar Das Ji walk backwards? Yep, that's your star student. Hanji, thank you so much. So they don't turn their back towards Guru Sahib. And when they got there, on the way there, they would read 84 Japji Sahibs as well. 84 Japji Sahibs. And if you go on to the next slide, please. And when they got there, they would go into the river, they would fill that pitcher up, and then they would go all the way back. And when they got there, that wasn't their seva done for the day, that they would then carry on, and later on, they would go and they would go to the forest, and they would get wood for the langar, so they could cook the food. That back then, we've got it quite easy now, we just twist a little button and gas comes out, but they had to actually cook langar with logs of wood. And that water that they bought for Guru Angad Dev Ji, they would use to wash their clothes, to wash their feet, and for Guru Angad Dev Ji to use it to have a bath. And if we go to the next slide, please. So if we just bring it back to the Bhakti, so they're saying Jin Sevya, so whoever serves, so like Guru Amar Das Ji, they served for 12 years, from when they were 72 to 84, then by Aman, that they attained honor. And they attained honor, they attained the supreme honor, that they were given the Guruship. They became the Guru. And if we just link this back to our lives, that if Guru Amar Das Ji, at 72 years old, up to 84 years old, could wake up at 2 a.m. every morning and walk for 4 hours to do seva for their Guru, that it can inspire us to do more seva, including myself. And we could do ardas to Guru Amar Das Ji, that let us do seva like you did, that let us do more seva, so much seva that when you look at us, you can say that that's my son, that's my daughter. And Guruji then continues by saying, Nanaka Gaviya Guni Nidan. So Nanaka, meaning Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Gaviya sings, Guni, meaning the virtues, qualities, Nidan, treasure. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying, sing about that treasure of virtues, that Vaheguru Ji that has so many virtues, so many qualities. And let's just try and name 5 qualities of Vaheguru Ji, because there are so many. I'll start with one, just to get the ball rolling. So Vaheguru Ji is so forgiving. So let's try and get 5 more from the Sangat. Hanji Biji. So loving, thank you so much. So Vaheguru Ji is so loving. That's one quality. 4 more. Hanji. Yeah, so he's done a lot for us. So he's so giving, right? Just 2. 3 more. Hanji. They are so powerful. Thank you, Benji. They are so powerful. 2 more. Sangat Ji. Hanji. Seva Singh. They are transcendent. That's a big one. Last one. Hanji. They are immortal, Hanji. They are beyond death. Thank you so much. So they've got so many virtues. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that when we sing about these virtues, we then start to take on these virtues. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji also talks about Gaviya, singing. And our Gurus realized how powerful singing can be, that it's a way straight to the heart. And they knew it was so powerful that Guru Granth Sahib Ji isn't organized by topic or isn't organized by who wrote the Bani, it's organized by rag, by melody. And for us, for example, we may have been sad at one point or may have been down, but sometimes we just listen to a song and it raises our mood up, right? Has anybody experienced that? Listen to a song and it cheers them up? And so if we go to the next slide, please. And the Siddhs then asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji that you say that we should sing, but how should we sing? In what way should we sing? And Guruji says, Gaviya. So sing, suniya, that listen, that when you're singing, listen to what you're singing. Man, to mean accept. So accept that what you're actually singing about, accept that is true. And then rakhya pao, so rakhya meaning to keep. Pao meaning love. So keep love in your mind when you're singing. And when we have love when we're singing, it just changes the experience totally. So for example, if we used to take the Shabad, Tan Guru Nanak Dev Ji, we could say Tan Guru Nanak Dev Ji, but if before we start singing that, we start to embed that love inside of us, that we think of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who came to this world to allay the suffering. That Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who forgave someone who murdered hundreds of people. That same Guru Nanak Dev Ji who forgave a cannibal, someone who would eat other human beings. That Guru Nanak Dev Ji that helped somebody who was crying to Guru Nanak Dev Ji and said that not even the animals would come near me, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji couldn't even bear to hear the cries of the world. And so if just for 5 minutes we have that love inside of us of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and we sing Tan Guru Nanak Dev Ji, meaning great is Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So could someone do Kirpa and you got to do Hanji Vaheguru.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ Sahib Ji, Tan Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji.
ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ,
Tan Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, Tan Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji.
ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ,
ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ।
ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ,
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। So the Siddhs, after hearing that, say to Guru Nanak Dev Ji that what happens then when we sing in this way, where we sing, we listen, we accept, and have that love in our minds. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Dukha parhar sukha kar le jaye. So dukha meaning suffering, the suffering of this cycle of birth and death. Parhar meaning removed, goes far away. And then sukha, that peace, kar le jaye. So kar meaning home, le jaye meaning take. So we take that peace into our home. And this is referring to the home of the next world. That when we sing the praises of Vaheguru Ji here, that we get the phal, that we get peace in the next world. And that's the first art, the first meaning of that shabad. The second meaning is that it's talking about this world. That dukkha, that suffering that we experience here, whether it's of our mind or whether it's of our body. And then the God refers to our body. So it's saying that when we do this, when we sing in this way, then the home of our body, we bring peace into it. Next slide, please. And then Guru Nanak Dev Ji then elaborates, he goes even further about the way that we actually should sing. And they say, Gurmukh Nadang, Gurmukh Vedang, Gurmukh Rahya Samai. So they say Gurmukh. So Gurmukh, meaning Gurmukh, is actually made of two words. So Guru, meaning the Guru, and Mukha, meaning face. So this refers to someone who is facing the Guru, who is listening to the Guru's teachings, listening to what the Guru is saying, and following that. And it's saying that the Gurmukha, Nadang. Nadang means sound. So that Gurmukha, when they sing, they focus on that sound vibration. They focus on the Shabad when they are singing at Kirtan. And Guruji is saying that when our mind gets tired of that, when our mind doesn't want to do that anymore, then Gurmukha Vedang. So Gurmukh again meaning Gurmukh, that one who faces the Guru. Vedang means knowledge. So then we start to focus on the meanings of that wisdom that we are listening to. What it actually means, the explanation of that wisdom. And when we do both of these things, then Gurmukha Rahya Samai. That Gurmukha Rahya meaning remains, Samai meaning absorbed. That Gurmukha remains absorbed in Samadhi, in that meditative state where they have no thoughts in their mind, where their mind is at peace. And there's a Sakhi of someone by Veer Singh Ji's time, a very respected scholar in the 1900s. There was an Abhyasi, someone who does a lot of Abhyas, meaning a lot of meditation. And what they would do is they would use a technique where any time their body or their mind became tired or didn't want to focus on Naam anymore, focus on Gurbani, on meditation, then they would change what they were doing so they can keep that focus going. And so they would start in the morning doing 2 hours of meditation sitting down. And when they became tired of that, then they stood up and started walking and continuing their meditation. And then when their mind got tired of that, they would then use a pipe that was up to their neck and they would place both hands on it and continue doing the meditation. Then after that, they would use a bairagan, which is like a stick that many saints would use and many meditators used to help when they're sitting down. So it's like a stick and then it's got a flat surface where you can rest on again. And then after he got tired of that, he would then, in his house, he had like a swing that he would sit on that swing and start to read Gurbani. And he would just swing a little bit while he's reading Gurbani. And when he got tired of that, when his mind got tired of that, he would then put the tape player on and listen to Kirtan. And when he would listen to Kirtan, he would tell his mind that I'm sitting in the charan, in the feet of Guru Ram Das Ji. And when he got tired of that, his mind got tired, he would then start to write Gurbani. So you can see that he was using these methods that whenever his mind got tired of something, he would then switch the type of meditation, the type of remembrance, to keep that remembrance going. Next slide, please. And then the Siddhs ask, this Guru that you're talking about, tell us more about him. What is he like? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji uses the 6 deities in the Hindu Dharam, in the Hindu faith, to explain how this Guru is. So they say Gur Isar, Gur Gorakh, Barma Gur, Parvati Mai. So they say that the Gur is like Isar, meaning Shiva. Then they say the Guru is like Gorakh, Vishnu. And Gorakh means Vishnu because Gorakh, the word Gorakh is made up of two parts. So they have Go, which means like the earth, this world, and Rakh, to mean to protect, to keep. So the deity Vishnu is the sustainer, the protector of the world. And so they refer to it as Gorakh. And then they say Barma Gur, that the Guru is like Brahma. And then they say Parvati Mai. So this refers to the three wives of these deities. So you got Parvati, and then you have Mai. So Mai is made up of two. So Ma, meaning Maya, referring to Lakshmi. And then we have E, referring to Saraswati. And then these Siddhs say to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, well, how are they like them? Explain. On the next slide, we're just going to go through what the functions of these Hindu deities are, and then how Guru Nanak Dev Ji relates them to the Guru. So we have the husband of Brahma. And if you press the... So Brahma is the creator. They have the creative force. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that the way that the Guru is like Brahma is because they create the virtues inside of us. They create the virtues. We have Panch Guna that the Guru talks about. Anybody know what the 5 virtues are? Anybody? Hanji. So that's the Panch Jod. So that's the answer to the next question. So keep that. I'm going to come back to you. The 5 virtues. Hanji. Hanji. Himmat. Nimrata. Hanji. Humility. Hanji. So humility is one of the virtues. Hanji. Anybody else? Hanji. Daya. Hanji. Daya. Anybody else? Got 3 more. So we have Hanji. Hanji. 3. Hanji. Yes. One more. We have truth. So Santok. Benny said truth. Sat. We have Daya. We have Nimrata. One more. Pyar. Hanji. Thank you so much, Benji. So those are the 5 virtues that Guruji has given us that we should try and imbue inside of us. And the Guru is like that creator, like Brahma, because they put these inside of us. Then we have the wife of Brahma, which is Saraswati. And Saraswati is the goddess of knowledge. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji tells us that the Guru is like Saraswati because they give us the knowledge of Gurbani. That the true knowledge. That Guru Amar Das Ji says, Sat Guru bina hor kachi hai bani. That the Satguru, without the Satguru, that all other Bani is false. Meaning that it's not completely true. That even if we just have 0.01% impurity in something, then we can't call it pure, right? But we know that Gurbani is 100% true. And then we have the next husband and wife. So we have Vishnu and Lakshmi. So the deity Vishnu is the sustainer. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji tells us that the Guru is like Vishnu because those virtues that we have inside of us, they sustain them and then they grow them. They nurture those virtues. And then we have Lakshmi, who is the deity of Maya, of material possessions, of wealth, of material objects. And they say that the Guru is like Lakshmi because they can grant us any material objects we want. But this isn't to say that we're focusing on the material objects, but Guruji, they can grant us anything. And then we have the last 2. We have Shiva. So they are the deity, they are the destroyer. And Guruji tells us that the Guru is like the destroyer because they destroy the 5 vices within us, the Panch Jod. And we're going to come back to Benji, who had all the answers last time. Very good, Hanji. So Kam, desires, Krodh, anger, Lobh, greed, Moh, attachment, and Ahankar, pride. So they are the destroyer of those Panch Jod within us. And then we have Parvati, which is the goddess of devotion and persistence. And there's a story that Parvati, in her first life, in the previous life, she was born as someone called Sati. And her father, which was called Daksha Prajapati, he was a king, and she actually ended up marrying Shiva without his blessings. That she did it, and he wasn't very happy at all. So what he did is he organized like a sacrificial fire ceremony. And he called all the family over. He called their family as well as the in-laws' family. And the only 2 people that he didn't invite was Shiva and Sati. When Sati found out, she went to her father and saw all these gifts for all the in-laws, but no gifts were given to Shiva or herself. And she got so angry that she actually threw herself on to that sacrificial fire. And then in her next janma, her next life, she came as Parvati. And she was living in the Himalayan mountains. And the father in that life, again, had so many suitors, so many different matches that he would present to her to say, look, to get married to this person. And she would refuse all of them and say that I only want to get married to Shiva. And eventually, the father agreed that, yes, okay, you can get married to Shiva. And this just showed that her qualities, that persistence and devotion, that the only partner she wanted was Shiva. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji saying that the true Guru, the Guru, is like Parvati, because the Guru is persistent and that he only wants Vaheguru Ji as their partner. And if we go to the next slide. So then the Siddhs ask, tell us more about this Guru. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Je ho jana, aakha nahi, kehna kathana na jai. They say, Je, if, ho, I, jana, no. So saying, even if I know about this Guru, even if I know all about this Guru, then they say, aakha nahi. Aakha means to speak, nahi, not. So even if I know all about this Guru, I can't even speak it. I can't even put it into words. Then they say, Kehna gatana na jai. Kehna meaning speak, gatana, describe, explain, na, not, jai, happen. That I can't even speak the explanation of this Guru. I can't do it justice. I just can't explain it. And if we just look at this video on the next slide, just to show us actually all of just one quality of Vaheguru Ji, they are the creator. And just to show in this world, just the creative power that Vaheguru Ji has. If you press play, Ji. So you can see they've created all the ice caps, the mountains, the snow, all the jungles, the trees, the amazing sights such as waterfalls. And then they have the deserts, all that sand, the trillions and trillions of sand, countless amounts of sand. And then we go on to the oceans. That so much of the earth is the oceans that they go so many kilometers down with so much life in there. And we have the plants, the vegetation, the trees. I'm just going to let the video do the rest of the talking. So this is just like a tiny bit of the creation just on this planet, right? So that creative power just on this planet, how much Vaheguru Ji has done. And now if we just compare Earth to the rest of the universe, we know that the Earth is not the only thing in this universe, but this Earth is so tiny, even though all this complexity that Vaheguru Ji has done on this Earth, when we compare it to the rest of the universe, all of the rest of the universe that Vaheguru Ji has created, we realize how vast it is. So we just press another button. So yes, here it has, the Earth is 13,000 kilometers wide. And now it's just comparing it to all the other planets. So now we've got to the sun, and look how tiny the Earth is. We can barely even see it. And even the sun is so small that we'll see now compared to the other suns, how tiny it is. And so if we just stop at this cat's eye nebula, right? A nebula, without turning it into a physics lesson, a nebula is basically when a star goes towards the later stages of its life, it starts to turn into gas. And this nebula is so huge, if we were to compare it to the size of the Earth. So if the Earth was the size of a grain of sand in our hands, this cat's eye nebula, the size of that, would be the distance from here in London to India, and then back, and then to India, and then back 2,600 times. So I say that again because it's just crazy, right? If the Earth was the size of the grain of sand, this cat's eye nebula would be the size, the distance from here in London to India and back 2,600 times. That's how tiny this Earth is. And that's just how amazing, how huge this creation is, And that's just one quality of Vaheguru Ji. And if we press play, this cat's eye nebula is tiny itself. So it's just mind-blowing, right? That we think sometimes that the earth is the center of the universe, but if all this creation that Vaheguru Ji's had just on this earth, imagine what they've created in the whole rest of the universe. That this earth is just like a speck of dust. And even Guruji says, they say, what the Bhakti? I can't remember now. But there's a Bhakti, they said that how can I do your praises? They say, Ho kya salahi kirma janta vadi teri vadiyai. They say, how can I do your praises? That I'm just a kirmajant, I'm just an insect. Vadi teri vadiyai. That great is your praises. Great is your greatness. If we go on to the next slide, please. And then Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that Gura ik deh pujai. That the Guru, next one, please. Sorry, slacking. I apologize for my assistant. So Gura, said the Guru, ik one deh pujai. So they give us this one understanding. That Guru Nanak Dev Ji has been given one understanding by Vaheguru Ji. Next slide, please. They say sabna jiya ka ik data so main visarna jai. That sabna, all, jiya, beings, ka, of, ik, one, datar. So together, that's saying that all of the beings have this one giver. That Vaheguru Ji is the giver of all beings. Like we saw in that video there, that all of these beings, all that nourishment, everything that's being given is a gift from Vaheguru Ji. And then so main visarna jai. So meaning that, main, me, visarna jai, never forget. So Guruji is saying that may I never forget that all of these beings have one giver. And I just want to go through two more examples of actually all of these attributes, the skills, the qualities, the gifts that Vaheguru Ji gives to the animals, for example. So if we just go to the next slide. So here we got a baby giraffe. This is a giraffe that's just been born, a baby giraffe. And baby giraffes have to walk within 30 minutes of being born, because if they don't, they get eaten by a predator. And so we can see normally it happens within 15 minutes. We can see that who gives this giraffe this ability to, this knowledge that they have to get up and walk? It takes humans about a year to walk, right? But Vaheguru Ji gives this giraffe the knowledge, the ability, the instinct, the protective instinct to actually start walking. And if we go on to the next slide, please. And here we have what's called a wood frog. And this frog in the winter freezes for 8 months. And when I say freezes, it doesn't mean completely freezes. His eye freezes, his heart stops beating, that his lungs, it stops breathing completely, and it's just completely frozen. He's basically dead for 8 months. But in the summer months, when the ice melts, you can see that his eye starts to thaw, that his body starts to unfreeze, his heart starts beating again, they start breathing, and they just start moving like nothing ever happened. So 8 months of being frozen, essentially dead, and they're now moving. And we just think, who get off to Sainsbury's you go? See, who gives them this gift? Who gives them this quality that they can be frozen for 8 months? That for any other animal, they would die, right? And this is Vaheguru Ji. Just shows that Vaheguru Ji is the giver of all beings. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying, let me never forget that. And if we go on to the next slide. So just to summarize this fifth Bodhi, that the Siddhs first asked Guru Nanak Ji these 6 questions. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that nobody established Vaheguru Ji. Nobody gave them this power of the whole universe. And nobody created Vaheguru Ji. Nobody produced them. And that Vaheguru Ji is independent. They have no reliance on anything else. And that Vaheguru Ji is beyond this illusion, beyond this Maya. And then they talk about those who serve this one, Jin Sevya, then Payaman, they attain true honor. And then Guruji tells us that we should sing. That when we sing, that we should sing, we should listen to what we're singing, we should accept that and keep love in our mind. And when we do this, then our suffering goes far away. And that we actually get peace, that we take peace into our home, the home of this body and the home in the next life. And then when the Siddhs asked, how is this Guru like? Guru Nanak Dev Ji gives the example relative to the Siddhs, to the Hindu deities, all these different functions that they have. And they say that the Guru is like them because they have these functions too. And then when they ask Guruji that tell us more about this Guru, tell us more about Vaheguru Ji, and as we saw in those videos, that as an example, that Guruji says that how can I explain, how can I talk about the explanation of Vaheguru Ji? They are just so vast, they are just so limitless that I can't speak it. And they are Sabna Jiya Ka Ikdata, that they are the giver of all. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, let us never forget that they give to all beings, not just humans, that they are the giver to all. So I've made many mistakes. Please forgive me for my mistakes. Lekha katahana chotiya, likhana bolnahar, baksanahar baksale, nanak baratar. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Are there any questions? Haji. So I believe there is one, I can't remember the full details, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Sorry, the question was that you talk about life on other planets, that are there any Sakhis of there being life on other planets? So I believe this is going to be probably talked about in the later Bodhi, where we talk about luck, that there are so many different realms, so many different planets, and there's a Sakhi that Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes with someone to all of these different places. And before I go into the full Sakhi, if you turn up on that week, you'll find out the Sakhi. Just incentive to get you to come, yeah? Next question.
Baji, we had a question because we were talking about history and evolution and all of that. So it's come up because you mentioned the creator. So how would you explain the time before humans on Earth, like dinosaurs, because this is what we were talking about? If Guruji is the creator, so how would you explain evolution and Guruji's part? And then the second part is, why would then Guruji, WhyGuru, feel the need to then create us into humans? What is the point? In that context.
So is that two questions? One is that
kind of one follows on to the other. So if the world began with dinosaurs, or even before that, we had like a scientifically there was evolution. So the questions were, Guruji created all of that, but why would they evolve us to this point when?
So I think I get you saying why create evolution, as in why make us start from like apes, for example, and then make us evolve into humans? Yeah. So I guess it's just the play of Vaheguru, right?
But in terms of when there was just roaming around animals, what would be the point in even making this a thing? Making humans and human life. I know we're here in our purpose and all of that, but at that point to this.
I guess it's just Vaheguru play, I guess. I mean, I don't know if Deep Singh could probably elaborate on that. But I mean, Vaheguru is in all of those animals as well. They're experiencing that as well, right? And that's what we just think about on this planet, dinosaurs and beings before us. But think about all the other planets. There's life, there's beings on other planets as well that had the ability to connect to Vaheguru. So it may not be the case that we're the only human form that we saw in the universe, that there's billions and billions and billions of other planets, trillions, like a limitless amount. And so there'll be life in those as well. But I guess this is just all Vaheguru's play, right? That it's part of when they create creation, they are also in the creation as well. So they're experiencing that. And then it's just part of the play that then we evolve. It's the laws that they've made. That life probably starts as in our planet as water, and then gradually it evolves, and then other more advanced beings come out. But I'm not too sure whether Deep Singh wants to expand on that answer.
WhyGuru, I can just sit then. I'll stand. So Benji's question is like proper complicated and loads of parts to it as well. These are discussions like at home. Oh my gosh. Just watch EastEnders and chill out. Yeah. 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 TK. I was joking about EastEnders, by the way. Don't watch that. I guess when it comes to the idea of evolution, from whatever I've learned from other Guru Sikhs, there's nothing to say we knock the idea of evolution, right? Because even look at Jurassic Park June, 8.4 million different life forms. even in the 8.4, there's many facets as well, right? So starting from one thing and then moving on to the others, right? So when it comes to, why would God do this, I think definitely Guru Charan Singh went down the right thought process, is that we're basing everything upon this life. Do you get, this world, right? But what's to say that another planet, another world, that somebody else isn't getting mukti there right now? They're not in a human life, right? Because, when I was getting cussed by Guru Charan Singh for not being a great clicker, I actually knew this question was going to come up. I just had this funny feeling when he was talking that he's going to speak about this, that somebody's asked this question. And that story when Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes to, I can't ruin it, for the Patala week. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes to, I won't ruin the whole story, but when they disappear to different planets. And there's different planets, you've got Parchar there. Meaning that there's Sikhi in other places as well. Guru Nanak Dev Ji came back and got Parchar. Why is everyone laughing for? Someone got Parchar? Oh, theek. Right? So the point is that just because what video is getting now is that we're focused on this world and the evolution this world, but another world, somebody's going to be eating Parchar. Right? Is that you want to go? Yeah. And the last thing about the whole why question, why, the issue with why, and we put why and God in the same sentence, it causes bare problems, right? And one thing Bhai Gurdashi says, karte karn aap lukaya. Karn karte aap lukaya. Karn means reason, karte means God, aap means them themselves, lukaya means only they know. So only God knows why they did this. Only God knows why Guruji knows why this whole creation, this whole expanse was made. Aap lukaya. We have no idea. If you want to know, you have to become one with Vaheguru. Otherwise, we'll never know. We just keep guessing, sitting on the table, talking about this stuff, which is, I guess, is good vichar to have. Right, so carry on asking these difficult questions. Theek hai ji? Any other questions? Hanji, Harmeet Singh. Someone pass the mic, please.
Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Just to add on that, why not create dinosaurs and all these other beings first? What's to stop you? So, like, if you're the CEO, you can kind of do whatever you want.
What's that got to do with anything? I don't get it. What's CEO got to do with dinosaurs?
It makes perfect sense to me. Like,
Okay.
Vaheguru Ji, I
Yeah.
don't know why he's laughing.
Sorry,
Vaheguru Ji can do whatever they want, in whatever order they want, right? But obviously, right? But in the term
Yeah.
of that, Vaheguru Ji is like the one that is in charge and the one that's the, ahead of everything.
Really hard to get like preteens and teenagers to understand that concept, especially when science at school plays a part. So it's kind of getting that balance really early on. But these questions do come up, and I just wouldn't know how to address it.
Nanji, fair. Benji's saying just about how science in school, these are the questions that kind of come up. And it's hard when it comes to talking to kids and trying to address these things. But even the idea of science and a lot of things in Gurbani, like VG spoke about water earlier, it comes in Asa Kibar, Pehla Pani Jio hai, that first water was made, and that from life, right? So a lot of these concepts are spoken about. I guess as you go through the weeks, you'll find out more. Did you want to say something? Oh, theek hai. Oh, there's more questions. On Kar Singh, another question from Kar Singh. Then we go to Dilip. Any Bibia, any questions on this side as well?
Vaheguru.
Vaheguru?
I just want to add something to that point again.
Oh.
Vaheguru.
Hanji.
So those questions, I think it stems from, in Maharaj we say, Kitho upade kahe rahe kahe mai samave. So where have we come from? What are we here to do? And what are we going to go to do in the future? And I think these are the three main questions a lot of us have in this world as living beings. Why are we here? Where have we come from? And where are we going to go? Next, Maharaj says, Ji jant sab khasam ke, kaun qeemat paave. All of the creatures of this world, the D, the jant, they all are yours, right? They all come from you. They have all come from you. So I think that is the answer to that question as well. Everything is Vaheguru. And next, Maharaj says that we can't put a price on this, that we can't put a limit on your creation as well. So again, Benji was talking about last week that hukum na keha jai. And I think it always just comes down to that. We can't put a limit on Vaheguru Ji's creation. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
That was really good, bro. Thank you so much. Dilip, there's a Dilip over here. There's a question for Dilip.
Waheguru Ji. Can everybody hear me? Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just going to add to that as well. I don't know, I mean, after that, I don't know there's much of all I can add, but I think Gurcharan Singh was going through the right sort of path there, saying that I think especially for young kids trying to understand this, it is basically like a play, everything that sort of goes around. But I think that's why Maharaj answered this quite quickly within Japji Sahib, saying, you know, hukmi hovan akar hukum na ke jai. You know, you can't speak about what's actually happening. This hukum, this akar that's unfolding. So the evolution that you're talking about is part of this akar, this lagatar that's unfolding. And we as people, like in our home, not to sound bad about it, but in our home, can't talk about this expansion, this hukum. But to have some sort of understanding in hukum, you know, Nanak hukume je buje. So again, I guess reiterating your part, isn't it? Once we become one with Vaheguru, like actual fact, then there won't be, you'll probably come in a state where there's no question, but there's no answer. There's just that one. Yeah? That's sun samad lagayan. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Dilip. Thank you so much. Any final comments or questions? Anyone else? Vaheguru Singh, Khalsa. Can you get there? Vaheguru. Give him 2 mics.
Vaheguru. Just because everyone's adding to it, I thought I'm asking as well. Well, just if you want a bit of a scientific based answer, because I'm really interested in science as well, there's this theory called cyclical cosmological theory, which is in general relativity, and it actually says that there's an infinite amount of cycles. And actually, we were watching this video at Gurcharan Singh's cinema house the other day, and it showed that the window of life in this universe is like 0.00000, like I don't know how many zeros, 1%, 93 zeros, singulars, 0.093 times 1%. That's the window of life in this universe. So we're thinking on it in such a small scale. We're really like nothing, like a speck of dust, Gurcharan Singh was saying. But at the same time, Guru Sahib, they will last for all of that time. And not only that, it's such a, they'll just destroy universes, create universes like nothing. Like within a second, within a thought, they can just do that. So that's, yeah, even science supports this. We believe in the same cyclical 4 ages that keep on repeating. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Good, Baji. Finish off there? Theek hai ji. So like we do every single week, thank you so much. Thank you to Guru Charan Singh as well.